Hello, beautiful people.
James, I think it's fair to say they love you too, right, guys?
You guys look great. You haven't aged a day.
They look amazing. New York has come out for the 20th reunion. And you guys, I don't know how many of you know this, but literally 20 years ago today, the show premiered, which is pretty amazing.
And none of us were on it.
That's not true, actually. You know,
none of us were.
You know what? The producers' charisma. This is so amazing because the producers have said Angel needed Cordelia. And it's so true. I mean, right, guys? We still need Cordelia. I am wondering what it was like to transition off of Buffy, go on to Angel, and you know, she really grew on Angel, more than she did so on Buffy. So can you kind of talk about that transition from one show to the next and how the character started to evolve and mature in a different type of way?
In a different type of way. Yeah, it was an amazing experience just in that there was more responsibility. It was a smaller cast. It was a big adjustment. I was terrified. I didn't know what to expect. I was very concerned that if the show didn't go, would I have a safety net? Could I go back to Buffy? And once those sort of initial fears were abated, I was able to relax and step into this new role and watch her grow. And I think episode 9 of season 1, Hero, with Glenn Quinn, when we lost him on the show, that was bittersweet in that it was great for my character and great for me personally, but losing that character was tough and a big responsibility, another big responsibility. So it was sort of incrementally increasing. So it kind of felt less scary, and I welcomed it, obviously. So I mean, it's the greatest role of my life.
Absolutely. I mean, and you were so amazing in it.
Thank you.
The fans, I feel like, really connected with Cordelia in a different way. Like, I often hear, you know, that she was inspiring and she gave strength. And it's not something that you initially, when you started playing the character, maybe thought would be a result of Cordelia, but it has been, right?
Hi guys, I feel like, yes, 100%. It is always remarkable when I come to these meet and greets and I get to engage with the fans and I get to learn from you and your life and your stories how Cordelia affected you. And I'm always amazed to say, or hear rather, that Cordelia
believe that these characters exist inside of me. So I found a way to just connect to the character's yearning for family, because ultimately I thought that that's what he was looking for, and that's what he created amongst the homeless youth in LA. And then when he met Angel, you know, he was very anti-vampire, obviously. So somehow he was able to, to put it mildly, but I thought that that was a really good arc about how sometimes, like, people who you decide are horrible people can sometimes surprise you, and you can find common ground for a mutual, result. And I thought that that was the real beauty of the storyline in a lot of ways. And so then when he got with these characters, he found that he could form a family with them too, and that they all had a mutual interest. So that's kind of how I approached the character. I thought he was all about creating families, and that's exactly what happened off camera, with us. Because we've been friends all these years. The show's been over, and we've been through awesome things. I was at this man's wedding. I've been through so many beautiful things with these people. So yeah, so it's interesting how sometimes, art imitates life and life imitates art.
It's circular, definitely. You mentioned vampires, James. Let's skip down the line to you. Vampires on Buffy were supposed to be, these evil, ugly demon creatures, and here you come. Kind of the opposite. And you know what? You stuck around and you kept sticking around, and how originally when you were approached for Spike, I mean, there was no telling the longevity of the character, so originally what was Spike's job on the show?
To die.
Right.
He was.
But you just wouldn't.
He was just Drusilla's boy toy for 5 episodes, and he was going to be Angel's first victim. Like the whole point of the season, this is over on the other show, was that Buffy would get her heart broken by Angel. They'd finally hook up, and then Angel would go evil, and then Buffy would really, really cry all the time. And then, his first act of evil was to take me down. So they only built me up to be cool, so that when Angel killed me, he would look awesome, right? Yeah. But yeah, like Joss got talked, like, to his credit, I think Joss does not believe that evil is cool. He thinks that evil is laughable, and I agree. And that's why his vampires were hideously ugly when we bite someone, because he doesn't want that to be a sensual kind of shot. And he got talked into one romantic vampire character, that was Angel. David Greenwald, bless his heart, talked him into that character, and then Angel just took right off. And I don't think that Spike was designed to be a romantic character. And I remember when after a couple episodes, the fan reaction was that I was a romantic character. Joss backed me up against a wall and said, "I don't care how popular you are, kid. You are dead. You're dead. You hear me?" And I was just like, "It's your ball, dude. Like, whatever. I'm just don't kill me now. You know, like, just give me the 5 episodes. I'm poor. You know." So. Yeah, so he told me that I was supposed to answer your question, Claire. Sorry.
No, go on, please.
It's my turn. I'm not giving the mic up. No. Just quickly. He said that I was a soulless vampire that didn't care about anybody. And I said, "Yeah, Joss, you got it, bud. You got it." And he turned his back, and I was like, "F that, man." Because like, I've learned that as an actor, if you find the love, you find the gold in the mountain, you find the jet fuel, you find the thing that will connect you to the audience. Like, what does your character love? And it could be love denied, love crushed, or any kind of love. That's what's going to connect. And I was like, well, I'm going to find the love. And so I found it in Drusilla. And I actually started undercutting Joss's theme from the beginning. And because I needed a job, man. I was a new father, and getting diapers overwhelmed any respect I had for Joss. It was just Gerber baby food and health care, man. So,
well, it worked in your favor. It worked out. Yeah.
So I pretty much played Spike with a soul from the very beginning, and that was wrong. That was wrong.
But it was so right.
Yeah,
it was
anyway.
right, guys.
Yeah.
It was so right. Alexis, you again, I mean, each of you guys had such interesting journeys. I mean, you went from kind of like a friendly, bubbly to brooding character. So let's talk a little bit about Wesley's journey.
Sure. What was the question?
You know.
I agree.
You agree,
yeah,
right? Okay,
no,
perfect.
I agree.
No, I really want to talk about the arc of your character.
Oh, the arc,
who
yeah.
comes, you were very much
I could speak
friendly,
to that.
bubbly.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't mean to. But first of all, I'm learning so much. Thank you, everybody. Truly, it's so.
Don't tell Joss that I said that. He'll be mad.
We're like in our little, like, it's
Oh, it'll
shared,
be on YouTube. It's out.
but we're in our bubbles, aren't we? And like, it's fascinating to hear what they were all going through while I was thinking about myself. I'd love to tell you that it was all kind of mapped out, but I didn't get 5 episodes. I had 2. So I can't say that I started that thinking, having big thoughts about the journey. I guess this is how I think of all of these jobs, is that just try to take a small step. And in a funny way, all those small steps, in my case, added up to an enormously long journey that I'm very grateful for. I think if each little step works, then you get to take the next one. I don't really know how else to.
It's a good metaphor for life too, isn't it?
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I think the writers, they had such a gift for. It was such a dialogue, and I don't even mean an off-screen dialogue. I mean an on-screen dialogue. Of they'd throw something up, and then they'd see the dailies. We're like, oh, that's kind of working. We'll try that for a bit, and then it kind of, some of it's that, and then some of it are these grand strokes that are intended from the beginning of either the show or the beginning of the seasons to try to get into.
One thing I wanted to add was in preparation for today, I watched Spin the Bottle.
Oh, nice.
Season 4. My least favorite season. Huh? What'd you say?
I said, do we get to play Spin the Bottle?
We can.
Karate.
It's one of my favorite episodes with you. And I remember there was this scene, it was between you two, where you said to him, what's going on with you, dude? You've changed, you're different. And your character says, I got my throat slit and my friends abandoned me.
Oh, yeah.
And that was a pivotal moment, I think, for your character as well, where you really went dark.
Yeah.
And you do it so well. It was
yes.
really fun to see you in the pilot, not the pilot, when you first came over, and he was bumbling around. He had the big. Do you remember that? Remember when we were in the office and you had the big axe and it went into the wall and you were like, "Whoops!" Like it was so.
Yeah, the coffee beans. I remember our kiss. Sorry, but wrong show. But I remember, did we decide to bang our teeth against each other? And I still laugh at, I think back to that. And it kind of hurt. It did kind of hurt, but.
Yeah, this isn't working.
Sorry, digressing.
Well, we didn't have those problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got to give that one to you, yeah.
So, Amy, let's come down to you. Woo! I mean, what's not to love about Amy, right? You have Fred, and then you have Illyria. And I mean, what an amazing opportunity as an actress to get to transition, from Fred to this completely badass, totally different character. When they pitched that to you, what was your initial thoughts, and did you have any trepidation?
Oh, well, initially when Joss pitched it to me, he did a pretty typical Joss thing where he said, I just wanted you to know I'm killing Fred. And then he waited a very long time. So I mostly felt sad. And then he said, but I'm going to bring you back as a demon goddess. And I was like, no one's going to argue about that. But he gave us a lot of time sort of to lead into that. He gave Alexis and I some scenes. Maybe, I feel like it was at your wedding, right?
It was, yeah. Cheerful,
he gave us
very
some
cheerful.
scenes at his wedding, and so that was
Joss never stops working.
earlier in the year, and so I had about 3 months knowing that this transition was happening, and Joss had in his kitchen. Joss likes to dance a lot, and he had in his kitchen different colored lights for dance parties or something.
Yeah.
I think they were for dance parties. Maybe it was for other things. I don't know.
Just cooking.
Just 'cause.
Just quickly.
But so he had Alexis and I come over and we did these scenes that weren't ever in the show, but they were just scenes he had written, and we kind of worked the character, which this is something you never get to do in any television job. You usually just show up and hope that you made a right choice. So yeah, we got to workshop the whole character, and he was flipping the colors on the lights, and we tried it with red, and then we tried it with blue, and he was like, oh, you're gonna be blue.
And so that's how the look of Illyria was born.
I got blue.
In Joss's kitchen with some blue lights. I love it.
Yeah.
That's great. James, you had some of the best one-liners on the show. Do you have any that stick out to you? Any favorites?
Okay. You want the truth, or do you want the, okay. The truth
We
is
want
I
the
don't
truth.
remember anything. Okay, no, this is the thing. When you're working 12 to 15 hours a day, and you're doing 22 episodes a year, I discovered levels of fatigue I had no idea existed before. And my short-term memory evaporated. And I remember we used to play a game on the set, which is, quick, what did we film this morning? like that. And the response would be like, I got nothing. I have no idea. We could never remember even what we did a few hours before, because you're always really focused on what you're doing now, trying to live up to these scripts that are so well written, and no matter how hard you try, you're never going to be as good as what's on the page. You're always going to miss something. So, like you guys were probably much better rested when you were in contact with Angel than we were, or me. And so it's
Let's
not
hear one of your
apathy.
favorite
It's
one-liners.
so, like the fact that I can't remember.
While he waffles. Anybody got one?
Waffle. You're a wee bloody puppet.
There we go.
That's my favorite line.
That-
of course.
That's one of my favorites too. That
Right.
episode was
Thank you.
I
amazing.
remember that one. Yeah.
Well, we're going to open it up to questions.
Yeah.
So there's 2 mics in the aisles, and you guys can line up there. And while they're getting lined up, Charisma, I want to ask you, your final scene in season 4, obviously before you came back, but where you and Angel are in the office and the phone rings and you say, "Oh, and you're welcome." How was that to film, and how did you almost brought the original Cordelia back to that one line at the end? It was so interesting.
Actually, that is interesting because the way I said it, they had me re-say it in ADR because they didn't like the way I had delivered it. They wanted it to not be given away. So when I was playing the scene, I guess I had indicated in a way, like if I were to describe the way I said it, it would be like sharing a loss. You know, like, I don't even want to give you the reading, but whatever reading it was like sharing a loss. Like I was sad, like I knew what was coming, and they didn't want it to be given away. So I'm in ADR delivering the line again, and I'm kind of at odds with the producer in post. I'm like, I don't want to say it like that. I want to be all, "Oh, and you're welcome." You know, it's like, that doesn't fit. That doesn't work for me. And that just feels intrinsically wrong. And, you know, as usual, I was wrong. And, and they prevailed, and they're like, "This is really the way that we want to do it, because we don't want the audience to know." And I go, "Okay, well that makes sense. So I'll do it that way." But my instincts were, you know,
To go darker.
to feel, you know, to feel like the loss of having, like, say goodbye.
Yeah. Well, it was extremely poignant how it ended up. So good job.
Thanks.
Hi, we're going to start over here. Hi.
Thanks for coming, obviously. So I know that Angel continued on in the comic books. Are any of you familiar with it? And if you are, is there anything in the comic books that you saw that you wish you guys could have done?
Survived.
But this is actually a good question because you co-wrote one of the comics.
I wrote 2,
Yeah.
but it was in the other show verse.
Yeah.
And it wasn't Angel. But yeah, I wrote a couple.
It was still Spike though.
Yeah, it was still Spike. Yeah. And they were really good. Yeah. But yeah, I was surprised. Like when we filmed the finale, my thought was like this: we are wrapping up the arc of Angel, which is Angel starts his. We were introduced to him as a villain, as a bad vampire, and then he makes the slow arc into being kind of redeemable, and then finally to hero. And like what I thought was, Joss was thinking the most heroic thing that we can have him do is to give up his life in a fight to save other people that he knows he's gonna lose, and that he knows he's gonna die, but he has to try anyway. Like that's the ultimate heroic act. So we were out in the rain, and I'm thinking, oh, we're definitely dead. Like that's like it kind of is less powerful if we're not. So we're dead. Like the show's over. So yeah, okay, we're dead. And then when I opened the comic book, I'm like, oh, that's nice. we survived.
It was such a great ending, though. I mean, Amy, Jay, did you have a thought? Were you on the same page, like we're dead, or were you like, yeah, we're going to survive this?
Well, I saw that my character was turned into a vampire, and I would have loved to play that. That'd have been fun. I think it's something cool about the arc of like you kind of become what you hate kind of deal. So I always saw that happening for my character.
I was mostly excited when I see the drawings, and I'm like, ooh, I wish I had that body.
You do.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi, how are you?
Hi, just thanks all. Your shows, one of the things is I've been sharing it with my 18-year-old son, and who's hiding now because he hates when I do this.
Put the spotlight on him.
I know, it's dark, dude.
Put the lights on him.
He's gonna hate what's gonna coming in a minute. But one of the things we've been doing is, which he also hated, is I made him watch Buffy, Angel, Buffy, Angel.
You're such a good dad.
The only problem is right now we only got to the middle of season 4 before he went off to college, and he never found out why for almost all of his life I've been calling him one phrase which you've already said. So could you do me a favor and say, "Hey Zach, you're my wee little puppet man."
Hey, Zach, you're my wee little puppet man.
Thank you. I wanted him to find out in that episode, and I was like, what's his reaction going to be? But I think this is even better.
It is.
Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi.
Hey guys.
Hey.
I've met the majority of you before, with the exception of Alexis. Good to see you again.
Here he
and
is.
Good to meet you, sir.
Thank you.
I've said this before to your peers, Alexis. Buffy and Angel got me through my mom's cancer and her death. I couldn't have done it without you. She even became a Buffy fan, even though she went to her grave not admitting it. She really loves Spike. And on this...
She had very good taste.
And on this, the 20th anniversary, what I wanted to do is I was drawing, and unfortunately I got carpal tunnel. I couldn't give all of you individual gifts, but I do have some gifts for you that I wanted to give you. When's the appropriate time and place to do this?
Are you going to be over at the convention center today?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone will be over there, and you are more than welcome. I'm sure everyone would love for you to come up and say hi and take a look at your artwork.
Yeah.
I'm not the professionals that are here, so by any means.
You know what? I think I speak for the whole cast when we say we appreciate any fan art or gift or anything that's inspired you. So I'm sure everyone would be more than grateful.
Thank you.
And
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. And if I can just ask you this, Alexis. Charisma's met me before, and she can vouch for me. I was a big Doyle fan. When you replaced Doyle on the show, did you feel a great deal of pressure?
Yes.
I can imagine. Just talk about that a little bit.
Well, I mean, I felt it and tried to not let it affect me, but I was very aware of it on a personal level, that this is something that the casting crew are very connected to, and I felt in a way that I was, taking somebody's seat at the table a little bit, which felt odd to me, but I had to try to not see it that way in order to perform my function. And I decided that I shouldn't really make myself responsible for the decisions that go into what a show are. And I thought that a show has room for everyone. But I just mean to say I was conscious that, I didn't, I felt a little bit strange at first, but then, the way that David and Charisma and the crew and how everybody, welcomed me and made me part of the family, was so amazing. And then we were just off and away. And I think James sums it up. You don't really have that much time you can't, dwell. Thank you. You can't really dwell on things. 1 hour format is fast and slow. You have no time to make the decisions that are extraordinarily important for what you're stuck with, and then you have a lot of time that you're stuck with those decisions. Because all the emphasis is on getting the thing shot. You don't have the luxury of and Amy describes that time in Joss's house. That's gold. That's more rehearsal than we had. Yeah, incredibly rare. So on a process level, you do have to just kind of, note that you're feeling a certain way and keep going. So thank you for your comments. I do want to say, we were talking about this, I think James and I were reflecting on this on the way here, that this is amazing for us that you guys are here, and we are so happy to to share ourselves. But what I think is really significant for us is that you share with us, because I think it has evolved over time what this relationship is, and I don't even know how to explain it, but I do want to say, like, we all feel extraordinarily grateful that you support the show and you support the work that everybody's done here, and it means a great deal to us. So, like the authenticity that you brought to your story just now, I want you to know that we see that, and thank you all for the time and energy you share with us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And sir, our condolences about your mother.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Okay. So I love all of you. James, I got to meet you yesterday. I forgot to say that you have one of my favorite responses on Twitter to, do you put an angel on your tree for Christmas? And you're like, I don't want that wanker on my tree. But I just want to say that Angel to this day is still my absolute favorite TV show. And but my question is for everyone, on Angel or Buffy, was there anything that happened that you wish was explored a little more? Because in one episode, Alexis, when Wesley gets a visit from his father, the father turns out to be a robot, and we never really found out where the robot came from. I kind of I got the impression it was something different from Wolfram and Hart. I guess another question is, where did the robot come from? And again, is there anything you wish were explored or expanded on a little more from either show?
What did she say?
Yeah, that's a good question. Charisma, do you want to kind of start? Is there any part of Cordelia that was left open?
That's loaded. That's really loaded. She would have been great to explore season 5. I didn't want her to die. I welcomed the opportunity to come back to be with my friends and to have Cordelia live on. So when I signed on and agreed to do it, and then found out after that I had signed on that we were in fact writing her out, that was one of the contingencies of my returning, was just I don't want to come back to kill her. Tell a story, let her live on in some way. And it didn't work out that way. So what was wonderful, though, when I did have that meeting in my trailer on the set of Mismatch with Jeffrey, I said, well, if you're going to kill her, tell me how it's done. And then he tells me the story, which you all know. And I was like, wow, that's really good. If you're gonna go, that's the way to go. And it was really, really special. I mean, I'm grateful that I did get to come back and see my friends and be a part of I think this is the right word, a seminal episode. It meant everything to me to do that. But obviously, Cordelia is a huge part of my life. It was the best role I've ever occupied to date. She's a big part of my life. 7 years of playing the same character, it's not lost on a person. So that would have been great to continue doing that.
Yeah.
James?
I remember this is not so much on Angel, but on Buffy, all I wanted was a verb on the call sheet. Now, what that means is, on the call sheet, it will be a small description of what the scene's about, Giles finds his teeth, or Buffy convinces Xander that he shouldn't muck around so much or whatever. And never on the call sheet was Spike does anything. For an actor, what is my objective? What am I trying to do in the scene? That's what we always try to find. And it wasn't always really in the scene. Because they put me on Buffy, and I was actually supposed to be the new Cordelia, because they lost Cordelia. So Cordelia is the character to tell Buffy, you're stupid, we're all about to die. Right? you went over to do that to Angel, and you did it so well. And they needed a new one. And so the only reason that I got on the show as a regular was they needed a new Cordelia. So I was supposed to be that, but they couldn't get me to the room because I would light on fire to get into the room. I came in with a smoking blanket all the time. And so they were like, Joss would always say, I don't know what to do with you. Every season he'd come to my trailer and say, I have nothing for you. So I just wanted a verb. I'd come in, we'd all be blocking in Buffy's house, and it'd be early in the morning. I'm like, what do I want? I'm like, oh, I decided to kill Xander, but I changed my mind.
Well, Spike didn't have a verb, but James kicks ass.
I got a verb for you. Spike stirs shit. It was always like a shit stirrer to me.
I do remember one time Xander is like bleeding out in Buffy's house, and all of the cast are around gnashing teeth and caring and crying about him, and like we're blocking the scene, and I'm over in the corner like bored. And director comes up to me and goes, James, I know it's early in the morning, but Xander is a series lead. You're a series lead. He's dying. You got to go care. I know you're tired, but you got to go. I'm like, no, I don't care. What? You're like, no, he could live or die. Ask Joss. I don't care at all. Buffy, yes. Dawn, maybe. The rest of them, no. He was just like, what? Yeah.
Amy, did you have any aspect of, Illyria was kind of new when everything, shut down. So was there more of her that you would have liked to have explored?
I liked all of it. I would be happy to revisit any of it. But I do feel like both of my love interests, I didn't get the full experience of either.
Do you guys all know the story of how they screen tested her? Is that like well known?
No, do tell.
You tell it.
I'll tell it. All right. No.
Come on, Alexis.
Okay, I'll start, but you guys can take over.
Joss loves Shakespeare.
Joss loves Shakespeare, and he wrote, I think it's on one of the DVDs, he wrote a scene basically from Midsummer take, kind of a Midsummer take. Definitely, where these guys are under a magic spell, and they come to me, the nerdy girl, and pretend that they are in love with, or think that they're in love with me, and I am like very tormented by this.
Yeah, it was all in poetry. Iambic pentameter. Joss wrote out an entire Shakespearean love triangle, and we shot it on the set.
Yeah. And I got to say bosomy. I like that.
You got what?
I got to say I'm not bosomy like your friend. About you.
Bosomy?
Bosomy.
That's awesome.
It's still one of my favorite scenes.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Great
I would have liked to know what happened to Gunn's parents. And all these years later, I reflect back on the pilot, and I wonder, if Gunn was bald, why was he wearing a do-rag?
It's a really valid point.
And guess whose idea the do-rag was? But now that I'm trying to get my waves together, I wear a do-rag. So I'm like, why was he wearing a do-rag if he's bald?
Hi.
Oh, y'all know what waves are. Okay, that's fine.
I know what it is. No.
You do?
I know what you mean.
I know.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
So my name is Brian, and I don't know if you heard from backstage, but I'm the one who was singing the questionable rendition of Sesame Street before the show.
We came in on Rent, actually.
Right, okay.
And rolling in the deep.
That was good stuff. So I wanted to say, of course, Angel is my favorite show of all time, and you five are five of the most talented actors I've ever seen on TV or elsewhere.
I agree. Absolutely.
Honestly, you guys, I feel like the five of you could play pretty much any role in anything. But what I want to ask, I guess, is, and I'm sure you've gotten this question in some form before a million times, but if you could have played, or if you had to have played any other role on the show of Angel, of the five of your roles or any other role, gender, sex, race, just completely thrown out the window, just the personality, the essence of the character, who would you have wanted to play the most and why?
I would play Joss.
Who was it?
Joss Whedon.
Oh, Joss.
That one guy.
So you're Numfar.
Can you do the Numfar dance, James?
I don't know the Numfar dance. Can you do it for me?
I don't know.
That's very close.
Oh, yes. Well done.
How about you, Amy?
Ooh, I don't know. What is the good answer to that? I don't know. I think maybe Wesley. I liked that. I felt like that character. He got to do so much comedy and drama, and it was just like such a great. I wouldn't have done it as well as Alexis, but it would have been fun to just try to be Alexis for a minute.
I'm sure it would have been close. How about you, Charles? I mean,
it's an interesting question. It does bring up, like it does. I remember every day at work with this group, just internally going, God damn, they're good. I wish I could do that. I wish I was as good. I wish I was as funny as her. I wish I thought of that for that. I mean, I should have had more attention on myself, I guess, and what I was doing. But I was always like, oh, well, they're so good. So I can't. It would be hard to say that there was one. I was perpetually feeling like these people are nailing it around me. I better bring it. Like I better figure out something to do because they're so good in this scene.
I feel like that actually really gave to your character of Wesley and his growth, because Wesley was pretty much like that. He was always observing what everybody else was doing and wishing he could do it as well as them or be as apt as them or whatever, you know. Like anyway, do you guys have one?
I'll answer Lauren just so I can give a shout out to Andy.
Nice.
Sans the green makeup. Sans the green makeup.
But can you sing?
Yes, he can.
Like a jaybird.
Not like Andy. Andy had a voice. Andy was on stage with Patti LaBelle. Andy could sing. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh, God, I miss him so much.
Yes. Thank you so much. Thank you, Brian.
Yep.
Thank you.
No, you don't know.
We better.
No. Okay.
I think just out of equity and inclusion, as many questions as
Hi guys, nice to finally meet most of all of you. I just wanted to, I totally don't even remember what my question was.
You have great hair.
Well, it's okay.
I actually started bleaching my hair just to cosplay your character like years ago when I first came to meet you, and the look just stuck. And
I'm sorry, you've been doing that for years?
Yes. Oh, it's amazing. It's been like 5 years. I can't stop it. It just looks so good. But I still follow all of you guys and everything else you guys do. I remember when you were on Runaways, I actually took a shot every time you were on screen.
Wow. She's dedicated to you.
Did you ever get drunk?
Oh, no.
Probably not. Okay.
Anyways. Favorite off-screen moment. That's what it was. Random. Anything.
I guess behind the scenes, or maybe even years later at an event. Did any of you guys have any standout moments amongst each other?
I liked yesterday, actually. We were all sitting on a couch backstage, and this woman came up and she was like, I don't know who any of you are, but why do you like each other so much?
You seem like a tight-knit group.
That's what 20 years will do.
I just remember never feeling so more embarrassed to be an actor, because they're always like, would you like to sit down, sir? Here's a tea, sir. And I remember on the puppet episode, the dichotomy between how hard it is to be a stuntman and how easy it is to be an actor was never more apparent, because in the scene, Angel Puppet punches Spike, and Spike just flies 18 feet up in the air. And we're shooting on a soundstage, which is concrete. And so Steve Tartaglia was the other Spike. He was stunt Spike. And they were ratcheting him up 18 feet in the air and just dead dropping him down to the thing. So they did it once, right? And they dropped him, and Steve is twitching and laughing. And I'm just sitting in a chair, and the director nods to me, and I go over, and Steve can't move until I get there to assume the same position. And then I just lay down on the ground, and I carry Steve out, and he's like, good luck, buddy. And I just felt like, oh man, oh, no wonder people hate us.
Amy was... Amy was reminding us upstairs of the night that a friendly Angelino poured a cup of urine over us in the alleyway of downtown. And it's kind of a metaphor for, what it is to work on a vampire show. It's like they look really great and it seems super cool, but in reality, they just run over us over and over. And then what we do is look up, did you get it? Okay, no, do it again. Back up, right on over me. And I don't know why we're like that, but when you are like that and you find kindred spirits who are the same, and then the truck is running over all of you, somehow it feels even better.
I remember when we were doing Waiting in the Wings, Joss was directing, and my fondest off-screen moment is sitting in Alexis's trailer playing Boggle with these guys at lunch. And I remember even in that moment thinking, this is bliss.
Aw. Thank you so much.
Hey, I have to interrupt. No, good question, but completely off topic. I'm really self-conscious right now because I'm not wearing my wedding band, and in case I want my wife to know that I was working in Atlanta, and when I'm on camera, that character, it's in my backpack. And I've been. This is fascinating, but I've been really very tuned into this finger while we've been having this whole conversation. So I just want to say, honey, I love you, and I have my ring, and I will put it on. So
duly noted.
That's a good man.
So yes. I want to get ahead of the story, as they say.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. I was wondering what your favorite episode was, whether it was like your favorite because you had fun filming it, or looking back and rewatching, you're like, that was a really good episode.
Any standout moments? Yeah.
Geez. I had a few. Cordy, the episode where she got her own sitcom.
Oh, God.
That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun. Spin the Bottle was a lot of fun because rarely do we all get to be together in the same scene, and that was like a whole episode where we were all together all the time, which can be challenging to stay awake, to remember that we're off camera, and to remember, like, it's your turn. It's your turn. Like that always happens. Sometimes you fall asleep at the wheel when you're off camera doing the same scene. Individually. Anytime we were all together was a great time.
And that's why I loved Waiting in the Wings. That was my favorite.
Yeah.
Because we were all together a lot of the time.
I share those two for sure, and then I would just add, that time we spent on, I think particularly when you transitioned, shall we say, that holds a special place for me too.
Yeah, and for me, the puppet episode, man, it just was such a brave move. Like on so many shows, some brave writer would be like, let's turn him into a puppet. And everyone would just look at him like, you are insane. And then the idea would never get any oxygen. But on Angel, they did that. I just think it's just so brave, and it worked so well. Yeah.
So let me ask you this about the puppet episode, since we brought it up a couple times. Where was David just hiding under tables, just doing his lines?
No, there was the puppeteer. Remember this? The puppeteer was under his desk, and he had like the dirtiest mouth. Remember? And so when they would say cut, the puppet would still talk, but as like the actor of Angel, and he would be like, I effed that scene up or something like. But we all kept talking to the puppet like it was a real person. Like he was so engaging.
Thank you. Hi.
Hi. Out of all the actors that came in to play villains, who was your favorite to work with?
All the different guest stars, I guess.
Probably Gina Torres for me.
Yeah,
Nathan Fillion.
Who?
Nathan Fillion. He's an awesome dude, yeah.
Does Spike count?
Spike counts.
Okay. I choose him.
Do you have a favorite?
I'm struggling.
I'm struggling too. The first person came to my mind as far as guest stars, like where I was like in awe, was when John Ritter, but that wasn't on Angel, that was on Buffy. But that was a moment where I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like our show is being taken seriously. This little show on this network with like a singing frog and a top hat and cane, and called Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and we have John Ritter. Actually, that makes a lot of sense, huh? But that was amazing. That was it. Can you tell me your shirt? What does it say?
It says, Angel, some white guy that's dead.
That's my line. Nice.
It reminds me of a gift that I had given for, you know how at Christmas time we would give cast gifts to the crew and all that stuff. We would get together and we'd pool and buy stuff for the crew. And one year I made t-shirts and it said Angel on the front, and then on the back it said Charisma loves me no matter what, I can do no wrong, or something like that.
Yeah.
That shirt, I thought that you have, because you guys amaze me with the stuff that you come up with too. The signing the tables. Like I got an 8x10 in resume, my very first 8x10 headshot a fan brought, and I was blown up. You guys show up with some really crazy stuff. Like, where did you eBay? Wow. But I thought you had that shirt.
Thank you.
I'm sure you can find it. It's a great shirt.
Yeah, thank you. I would just like to say, Alexis, you and Keith Sorbaka would be my number one.
Oh, Keith was amazing. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi.
Hi. I just want to say first, thank you all for showing up. This is really short. Thank you all for showing up today. I'm in the middle of a rewatch, actually, and I love all of you. I wanted to say specifically, Jay, thank you for bringing nuance to your character. That was definitely something sorely needed then and now.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I think it was a missed opportunity to not have an Angel film. But I was wondering if there was ever going to be an opportunity to get the band back together, so to speak, because you guys are truly like lightning in the bottle. Something magical happened on that screen, and I'd love to see it again, basically.
I think we...
Thank you.
You know what?
Thank you.
Fans have proven they can get things made. I mean, you know, Veronica Mars, and there's if you guys want another Angel with these guys, you should speak up. Speak up on Twitter.
I wrote an April Fool's article on my website about a Buffy reboot 4 months before they announced the Buffy reboot.
Oh,
so
I was about to say, that was you?
Another article, yeah.
So I'd love to see you guys.
So there's your assignment. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Like many others here, Angel is one of my favorite shows of all time. In fact, it's probably my favorite. And my question would be that duality plays a giant part in the show, just literally and figuratively, whether it's with a soul, without a soul, a person to a demon, someone who's lonely to someone who has a family, someone who kind of comes from a very kind of stitched up background, and Mean Girl to this incredibly empathetic, well-developed character. So just, was that a conscious decision to really think about kind of like this line between two parts of a character, or is it much more dynamic and kind of evolution as time went on?
That's a really great question. I wish I was one of the writers on the show. I know that Joss wants to bait the audience into thinking one way and then just go, you're wrong, they're more. You think you know something, it's a lot more complicated than you thought it was. But he will bait you into believing one thing. So he's manipulating it, and then he'll judge you for thinking that.
Jay, how about you? When you were portraying the character, I mean, because we talked a little bit about how he was, you know, visually and initially meant to be sort of one thing, but your eyes portrayed something very different.
Well, first of all, I'm like amazed at your character summary for all five of us so quickly. That was really succinct and awesome. You know, the funny thing for me is sometimes I'll go back and watch old episodes, and literally at the end I'll go, oh, that's what that was about. Like our episode First Impressions, where Cordy and Gunn go on a mission together, and she has an assessment of who I am, and I have an assessment of who she is, and we're searching for this demon who we're thinking is going to be one thing and he turns out to be another. And that's what the entire episode was about. And I mean, I knew that at the time, but there was an episode about pyramid schemes too, where I was like, oh my God, every aspect of this script is about a pyramid scheme in one way or another. So like Alexis was saying, we're so in the situation and it's so fast and furious that I really missed a lot of the brilliance of the writing of the show sometimes.
Yeah, like actors are paid to be very subjective. Like we have to just track one individual's journey moment to moment. And really, if I'm thinking about the larger theme while I'm filming it, I'm kind of I'm not doing my job in that way. So we sound stupid, but we're not.
No, but I remember one anecdote that I can give was going back to early Cordy on Buffy, I was always in a broom closet making out with Xander. And at one point or another, I'm like, guys, she's like a junior in high school and she's got sex on the brain all the time and she's always in it. Like, can we, either she's a damsel in distress or she's talking about or actually making out with somebody. So what's going on? Can she not be such a hoe? Can we work on this? Or there was the time when I was in the cabin with Buffy and I had the spatula and I was like, well, we could do this, and I was like taking it all so personally. I was personalizing my character and I wanted her to go a certain way and I was expressing frustration about it. And I had Joss and David at one point, these are very rare occurrences where you're both, everybody's on set like that. And I said, I'm really frustrated. She's just so dumb or slutty or a victim. And I'm annoyed, and they're like, but this is why America loves you, Charisma. And I was like, oh. I'll be quiet now. Sometimes we get in our own way. And thank God we have people that have the trajectory, they have the distance, they have the arch already in their minds, but we're not necessarily included unless we ask or go. I never had private meetings. I didn't go up to anybody's office and go, can you talk to me about my character? We didn't have time, I feel like. And 9 times out of 10 on a 1-hour show, you're getting episode 15 at 6 p.m. the day before it starts. So you're still in episode 14 the night before, you're starting a new episode. There's really just not a lot. It's just not feasible. I am impressed with all the insights that you're able to impart to us about your character and Joss's experience. I didn't have that much engagement. But I do know when I did not Your Welcome, but Spin the Bottle, I remember there was a time when he was directing and he kept having me do this scene where Angel asks me, were we in love? And I kept having to give this delivery, we were. Super simple line, always the hardest. So hard to convey that. And again, it was a sharing of a loss where we were. But there was something missing in the way that I was saying it, and I couldn't figure out what it was. And then I guess it happened 15 takes later. But you don't know, you don't always know. You don't know what's going on, even in the scene sometimes. And then the director, someone like Joss, who's so good at this, will whisper something in your ear, and then you're like, I get it. It's really in the moment. It's really in the moment sometimes.
Thank you. That was a wonderful question. Thank you so much. Thank you. Hi.
Hi. First off, my mother would kill me if I didn't do this because she's a big First Night fan. So.
Oh my God. Do you want a story from that one? This is a Sean Connery movie that she's referencing that I had a small part in, and obviously I'm, who isn't? Fucking James Bond, right? So we're all in this medieval stuff, and it's super hot on the set, and what the fuck's going on here? The sweat's running down the crack in my ash.
That was a great impression.
I was just like, I don't think I could have loved him anymore. And I now do. Yeah, sorry, you just triggered a memory there.
No, it's okay.
What's going on here?
Brother to brother, yours in life and death. Just because she would kill me. But my question is actually for all of you, and it's kind of inspired by the fact that you said, Joss is a big fan of Shakespeare, and I know that you and Amy did Much Ado About Nothing several years back. If you could all reunite to do a piece of Shakespeare, whether it be a film or a play, what would you choose as a group?
Ooh. Macbeth.
I was gonna say
Lady Macbeth. Malcolm. No, Malcolm.
Oh, yeah.
Macduff.
Macduff, yes.
Yeah, and Duncan. You'd be a great
Done.
Duncan. I'd be, yeah.
Thank you.
Let's do it.
I'll do it. I'm in.
There's a theater.
James, direct.
We
you
actually
could be
had
Macbeth.
we had the pleasure.
I'll be Malcolm.
We had the pleasure of James giving us the Scottish play, didn't we? You read it at the house at Joss's.
yeah.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Macbeth.
Thank
He's
you.
talking about.
This is our last question. We're running out of time, but we have a couple things still to do, so we'll take your question, and then we're going to do a couple other little short things.
All right, I'll keep it as quick as possible. First off, my name is actually Drusilla.
Wow.
I spell it with a C and not an S, but yeah. And I guess my question is, obviously you guys get recognized out in public. What are you most recognized for? Is it Angel or is it other projects that you've done?
I get Surviving Evil. I hosted that TV show, and people often, I'm always surprised that, but I guess Investigation Discovery Channel is an addict thing, and that sweet spot of women, they really, appeal. But I get that a lot, but obviously Cordelia.
I definitely get Wesley, and then I get a lot of Sandy Rivers from How I Met Your Mother. Yeah, I get just, especially in New York, I guess.
Jay?
I get a lot of Temptations. I was in a movie called The Temptations about the singing group, and I'm
Which was
surprised I
awesome.
get recognized so much from that. Especially in airports for some reason.
Yeah.
I think because TSA people have to study your face or something. They'd be like, Richard!
Yeah.
That was my character's name. That's the weirdest thing.
Amy, what about you?
I get a lot of usually I get, you look like this actress Amy Acker.
I get that a lot, yeah.
But probably an equal split between Angel and Person of Interest.
And James, is it Spike?
Definitely Spike.
Yeah.
Close second by Runaways now, but yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we know what Angel means to you guys. We've spent, a lot of time talking about it today. In one word, can you guys each sum up what Angel means to you 20 years later?
Oh, God. That's pressure.
Growth.
What was it, James?
Growth.
Yeah.
I'll say family.
That was mine.
That's why I jumped.
I started with family. I was going to end with family.
Sorry.
That's okay. Family.
Just life. It was my life. Yeah.
Life?
Yeah.
Dedication.
I love it.
But when I say family, though, it does definitely extend to all of you as well, because this show has taken us all over the world, and we get to meet amazing people like you guys. So I definitely include you in that definition.
Absolutely. James, I know you wanted to do a quick little shout
audience
out.
participation. Okay, so thank you. So I like to just take a quick film of anyone that's cosplaying when they come into my line, and then I put that on social media, but I like to give them a big round of applause at the end of my little video, which is if I could get you to do some acting for free. You okay? Is it okay to bring the house lights up as much as possible if anyone's at the board in the back? Would be awesome. And if I could learn how to use a phone, would be awesome. Okay, so when I, just 1, 2, 3, and then just raise your arms and scream as loud as you can like your team won the thing.
Don't forget the people in the balcony, James.
It's impossible. Sorry, guys. Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, one
just
more
really
thing,
quickly,
guys.
just really quickly. I've
Oh
got
my
a
gosh,
friend.
really quickly.
He's a Vietnam vet, and he loves the show. And if you guys could just say "Hi, Rich" on 3, can you do that? Just like scream it, "Hi, Rich." He's
You're
a
making
really
him
cool
work
dude.
here. Wow. Okay, you guys.
Thank you.
One more thing. Keep the house lights up. You guys come. We're going to do a selfie with all you guys in the background.
Who's gonna hold it? Me? Okay.
All right, Jay's going to hold it. Here we go, guys.
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
Oh, there we go.
Y'all in this?
Thank you. Okay, guys, one more big round of applause. The cast of Angel.